Hey guys, Jeremy here with Simple Life. Welcome to episode number 42 of Viewers Knives. These are all knives that are sent in by you guys, the viewers of this channel, and it's a great honor for me to be able to share your work. I'm excited about this, so let's just get into it. So the first knife we're going to take a look at was sent to me from Patricio, and he is from Chile, and there's an island in southern Chile called Chilo. I don't know, Chiloe. I do not know how to pronounce that. That's where he's from. And this knife is his first knife. He said after watching this channel, he finally got inspired and said, I'm just going to go ahead and do it. The steel that he used was 5160, and the wood is a tree, and they call it Luma wood. And it's interesting because he had sent a picture of a bunch of houses on the water, which is this island in southern Chile, and those stilts, essentially that foundation, that's the type of wood that they use, this Luma, and that's also what he used for the handle material. This is a really cool blade. I like the shape of it. And he's 23 years old, and he even said in his email that he'd lost his mom a year ago, and he said that my videos on this channel really helped him get through. That's unbelievable. I mean, Patricio, I appreciate you telling me that. I'm so sorry for your loss. And I'm really glad that you found a healthy way to keep yourself busy. Knife making can be very therapeutic. It's an exciting hobby. It's an exciting pastime. And I just really appreciate your email. This is a great looking blade, and I hope you're making more still today. All right, the next knife we're going to look at is from Mikapa Knives. Now, I'm not sure this gentleman's name. He did say he's 27 years old and a self-taught knife maker. The steel he used on this blade is N690, I believe, and I don't know what that is. I know there's some maybe European designations for stainless steels that can cross over to what we typically use here in North America. So I'm not familiar with N690 stainless steel. I just haven't really looked it up, but really, really cool looking blade. Maple burl that's been stabilized and dyed was the handle material with G10 spacers and a Kydex sheath. Really like the loudness in this knife. This is not a quiet knife. This goes pow-pow. I think it looks fantastic. I like this Tanto point on here. Looks like a lot of hand sanding went into finishing this blade up, and I think it looks fantastic. And then to pair it at the end with that orange Kydex, I think just sets it all off. It looks fantastic. Excellent work, and thank you so much for sending this in. Also, Mikapa sent a link to his YouTube channel, so if you're interested, there's a link to that in the description below. All right, now we're going to Cottage Grove, Oregon, which is south of Portland. And Chuck sends in pictures of these two knives. These are his fourth and fifth knife that he's made. This one here is a kitchen knife. This was the fourth knife he's done. He did this in D2 tool steel and Coco Bolo for the handle. I also like that mosaic pin right in the center there. This is a really nice looking blade. I like the kind of a classic European kitchen knife shape there. Looks like a great blade. And then his fifth one here is 1095 with Bacote for the handle material. He believes it is. Again, he's got a nice domestic pin or mosaic pin in the middle, and then some pins on the side. I really like how the aesthetic of the knives kind of lines up, and it's got a style to it. This second one here, he said he just threw it together really quickly, so he didn't worry about the fit and finish too much. But when I look at this blade, I think it just looks like it would feel good in the hand. I think that the handle looks comfortable, looks like a very practical, nice size knife. So Chuck, thank you so much for sending these in, and these look fantastic. Keep up the great work. All right, we're going to head from Oregon to Pennsylvania. Philadelphia, Dave sends these in. This first one here is a cool looking blade. I like the loudness of that G10. The steel he used for this one was 1095 steel, and it is 3/16 thick. Really cool looking blade. I like the shape of it. Just looks like a classic hunting knife. Great looking field knife. I think this looks really, really nice. And then this other one that he sent in, this is 80 CRV with curly maple handle, G10 liners, brass pins. Really nice looking blade. Again, this is 3/16 inch thick. This just looks like a good utility knife. I like the jimping he's put on there and those multicolored liners. That looks really, really great. So Dave, thank you for sending these in, and keep up the great work. This next knife is a cool blade. This is the first knife that Caleb made, and Caleb is 12 years old, and he made this with his father. I think that is really cool to hear. The steel that he used for this knife was O1 tool steel, one of my favorites, walnut for the handles, and brass pins. So that's really cool. You think about a father and son doing this project together. He says here, Caleb says that he did about 95% of it himself, but his dad had wanted to let him know that he was with him pretty much the entire time, so it wasn't like unsupervised 12-year-old making a knife, which I have no problem with. I mean, I think kids these days can handle more responsibility often than we give them, but this is so cool that your dad was willing to do this with you. Man, I love hearing this. When young people start doing things with their hands, when they put their devices down, get off those silly video games and make something real, that gets me stoked. So Caleb, good on you. Give you a high five to your dad, because him helping you out and encouraging you to do this, we need more of that in today's society. I hope you're still making knives, and thank you so much for your email. This next knife we're going to look at is the first knife that Raleigh has made. Raleigh is from Connecticut, Groton, Connecticut, and he said he made this thing mostly entirely with hand tools, files, sandpaper. The steel that he used to make this is 1084, and he has a hollow stainless steel tubes for the pins, which I love the look. I used to do that all the time, and for some reason I'm not doing it anymore. I love hollow pins in knives. And then black canvas micarta. I think the shape of this knife is excellent for a very first knife. I wish my first knife looked this good. He also notes here that he sharpened it with a Lansky system, and that looks like a really nice edge on there, very consistent, which is a good indication of very consistent thickness of your bevels when you're making them. So Raleigh, I think this is a really cool looking blade. He also has a YouTube channel and an Instagram. I will link those in the description below. Excellent looking knife for your first knife. Man, can't believe it. Really like this one. Thanks for sharing it with us. All right, we're going to head from Connecticut all the way to Tasmania. That is really cool. This is from Rick, and Rick made this knife out of 1075 steel, gave it an acid wash, acid etch, and G10 scales, blue liners, and brass pins with a Kydex sheath. I really like the look of this blade. I like how the handle kind of tapers down as it gets to the blade, which, it makes it very comfortable and often, more practical when you're using it. Also like how he's got that sharpening type choil there. Really cool looking blade. There's some, with the choil area here and just this little ramped section. I don't know if I've seen that detail in knives, and I like it when you see knives that's like, oh, wow, I've never seen that tiny little detail, and this one has that for me. Also really enjoy the way these pins are spaced out. This is a great looking blade, and that Kydex sheath looks super good too. Rick, thank you for sharing this, and great looking blade. From Tasmania, we're going to my home country of Canada. This knife was sent in from Christian. I like the story behind this knife. So his wife wanted to get into spoon carving, but nowhere locally sold appropriate tools. So he made this for his wife for Mother's Day. That is really cool. He used an old chisel to make the blade, and the handle is antler, copper, leather, and walnut from a broken Winchester 94 stock. So that is really cool. Like this handle here was an old Winchester, the old classic lever gun, and he put it all together for his wife. That is so cool. He also made the Scandinavian sheath, and I just think this looks absolutely fantastic. I'm sure she was just super stoked when she received this. This leather work that you've done on the sheath, man, this is a very cool looking blade. I don't make a lot of knives like this, but when I look at this one, to me, I'm not an expert, but just looking at it, it looks like it's right. The handle looks like the great size. It looks like it would be a joy to use. This is a really great looking blade, and thank you so much for your kind words, Christian. I appreciate it. Excellent looking blade, and thank you for sending this in. From Canada, we're heading to Victoria, Australia. These knives are sent in from Damien, and these are 4 knives that his boss commissioned him to make as gifts for her supervisors. I thought that is really cool. I'm telling you, if that's your boss, I think you got a pretty cool boss if she's commissioning you to make knives for supervisors. So the steel that he used for these blades is 14C28N with G10 scales, and he etched them all with a ferrochloride apple cider vinegar mix. I think these are cool looking knives. Push dagger there, like that's cool. I wish we could make those. Here we're not allowed to have them, but just really nice looking blades, and I'm sure that the gentlemen, the supervisors that got these as gifts, we're pretty excited to have them too. Also got some nice tan Kydex sheaths there, look fantastic. And Damien, really cool that you're able to do this for your boss, and great story. Thank you for sharing these. And we're going to round out this episode of Viewers Knives coming back to Canada, and in fact to my home province of Alberta. Fort McMurray is where Mark is from, and he sent this picture in of his first knife. I think this is a great looking blade. The steel that he used here was 1084, and the tools he used were a 4x36 grinder, which he says was terrible, a ton of sandpaper, and pretty much everything else was done by hand. A lot of hand sanding has gone into this, he had mentioned. The handle material that he used is green linen micarta, and there we have it again, those tube pins. I love hollow pins. I'm going to get back to doing that. I really am going to get back to doing that. You know what? This is a great looking blade, Mark. I'm glad that the channel has helped you out. He also notes here that many mistakes were made, and luckily he was able to fix most of them. That's how it is often. I mean, it's a learning process. I constantly make mistakes. Even now, I don't know how many knives I've made, but I still make mistakes. But I like the way you said it. You just fix them. That's all there is to it. You know, I really don't like the adage. People say knife makers don't make mistakes. They just make smaller knives. And it's not a big deal, but to me, it kind of seems like we're not willing to own our mistakes. I make mistakes. That's how it is. But I you know what? That's just part of it. Anyway, I'm not preaching on that stuff anyways. I'm getting distracted. Mark, thank you so much for sending this in. I really do appreciate it. If you're watching this and you would like to have your knife featured on this channel, please email me, viewersknives@gmail.com. Also, if you could consider taking all of your images in horizontal or landscape mode. That's how they're being played on YouTube here. A lot of times I'll get images in a vertical mode and I have to do a pan from top to bottom. And there's been several images that I can't even fit the entire knife in frame. So if you could do that, that would be really helpful. Also, make sure the image file is in the email itself. I've had a few folks send me links to Google Drive folders and stuff, and I don't do that. I just literally need to be able to grab the image from the email and put it into my video editing software. So if you could do that, that would help me out a lot. Thank you so much for sharing, guys. I really appreciate it. And go ahead, check out links for the different videos, Instagram accounts that are listed below. This is a community thing we're doing here. We're all learning this. We're all trying to get better. You know, we're all at different stages. Some are incredibly talented and some are just doing it for the first time with no power tools. And we're all kind of doing the same thing in different parts of the world, but we can kind of come together with this common interest in making knives. I want to thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Cheers.